I feel like I've talked about this somewhat recently. It was if you've read any of Jocko Willink's books, you might have heard the phrase prioritize and execute. And this is something that's top of mind for me. We talk about it at the shop all the time. I talk about it to my team, especially when they're feeling overwhelmed. Like a lot of times I'll constantly see these things happening because our print queue will get out of control, the shipping, stuff. There's a lot of orders to ship, and I'll see my team members get overwhelmed. And I'll just remind them, prioritize and execute. Find the highest priority task, get it done, and then the priority will shift to another task. Then you get that done. And so I've been thinking about that a lot because I've been saying it a lot. We got real busy. We had some people out of town and some things happening at the shop. So the people that were handling the printing, and then I was even handling the printing, which I haven't done for quite a while. And so this concept was really, again, top of mind. I don't like to repeat these. Anyway, so I was also thinking about it and trying to make sure I apply that to my life as well. And so I've been in this rut, like not a bad rut, but like in this sort of mode where I'm sort of forcing myself to get the shit done that I need to get done. And when I'm not in a rut, I don't have to force myself to do anything. I actually have to force myself to stop working when I'm in that mode. I seem to be either in one or the other. It's never kind of like a nice little middle ground. I'm either like full work mode or full kind of like in a rut. And my ruts nowadays are way not nearly as bad as they used to, because like there was a time in my life where like I could just take days and not do any work, like especially when I was doing motion graphics. There was times where like if I had a deadline that was 2 weeks away and that was the only job I had, I could put off the work all the way up until like the last day or two and just get it all done. And so I could fuck off a whole bunch of time. I don't have that. I don't want to even call it a luxury because I don't think that's good for me. But I don't have that option anymore. Like the work has to get done every single day for me to keep moving forward. So when I'm in these kind of modes where I'm kind of struggling to get myself to move, it's hard to get out of. And I've talked about this a bunch as far as like building up momentum and all that. And it's about, getting started and picking small things and all that stuff. But where the prioritize and execute came in was I took some time to think about. I'm like, all right, well, what would be the priority to get myself out of the rut? And so when you really look honestly at your life and the shit that you're doing, it's probably pretty, I don't know if it's easy, but it's definitely possible to find things that maybe you weren't looking at. So like if I'm in a rut now where it's like every day I wake up, I'll write my power list out and then I'll have to force myself to get that work done. What is it that's happening in my life that might be the priority in order to get myself back to where when I see the list, I'm pretty much automatically going to attack the list and not have to force myself to do anything. And I started thinking that it might be more along the lines of, exercise and shit like that, because everybody knows like exercise, if you exercise regularly, you have more energy. And so if you have more energy, obviously you have more energy to put towards the tasks that you have to get done. So I started thinking about it and I've always been on this sort of roller coaster with exercise. Like I'll do 75 hard, be all gung ho about it, 2 45-minute workouts, do all the shit, gallon of water, diet, all that shit. And then when it's coming to an end, I'll have all this momentum and I'll be like, oh, hell yeah. And I won't even be looking forward to it ending. I'll be like looking forward to like getting that win of finishing the 75 days. But at the same time, I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to not do this shit anymore. It's always like, cool. When I get to the end, I'll still do, all of these things, but maybe not 2 45-minute workouts, one outside, maybe, still work out every day. And then over time, that starts to sort of like go away. It's like over time, I'm like, all right, I'll just do one 45-minute workout. And then eventually it's like, man, yeah, 30 minutes is enough. And then, maybe I don't have to work out every day. And then it just kind of spirals into, sort of inaction essentially. And so I'll still work out, but it'll just be a lot more infrequent, a lot more, sort of sporadic and not really very well planned out and all these kind of things. And so when I was thinking about prioritize and execute and how to get back on track to get myself moving every day and working out and stuff, Jesse just got home and I think the dogs are going to freak out, but I don't want to stop recording. So I'm going to keep going. Apologize if there's a bunch of noise in the back. So in order to get myself back into consistent exercise, I started doing this thing. So that's the priority. I identified that's the priority, right? Obviously I have to get my work done, but like, as far as like, what am I going to really focus on to make sure I get this shit together? And so I like the sort of tiny habits or atomic habits strategy. It's like picking something small and getting that consistency down. So I walk my dog in the morning, every morning, and now that's a habit. So I started carrying a 35-pound kettlebell with me. So, well, that's not like a shitload of weight, over like 10, 15 minutes, you're switching hands. It adds a little bit of intensity. So I have that habit now and I do that every single day. And my dog, which is kind of cool, my dog holds me accountable because every morning when we get up, she's all excited because she knows that's what's going to happen. So I sort of have to do that. And then the only real sort of discipline that I have to exercise, in my opinion, is, not saying, fuck it, I'm not going to carry the kettlebell. So I have to have some willpower to be like, all right, I'm going to pick up the kettlebell and, excuse me. And then we're just going to do this. So that habit of doing that every day, that's a little bit of exercise. It's not like that much. And then I tied another habit to that, which is I'm going to do a few minutes of exercise after that when I get home. And so I started doing my walk with the dog with the kettlebell. And then when I get home, I'll do it like what's called an EMOM or EMOM or whatever, every minute on the minute. And then I'd have different exercises. So, push-ups, 10 push-ups every minute on the minute, or I think I was doing 12 to 13 or something like that for one. And then maybe the next day I'll do like, bent over rows with the kettlebell or something like that. So I started gaining some momentum and getting that done. And then I realized I'm like, I really need to do more. And so I started doing the sort of rebuild thing. I kind of like pieced together a bunch of different things. I did an episode on this a while back, but it was a program that I put together for myself that was pieced together from a bunch of other programs of stuff that works for me. It's basically like 10 pages of reading, 10 minutes of meditation, 30 minutes of exercise, 5 powerless tasks, and follow a diet. So those things move the needle for me. So I just started doing that a couple days, or I think I'm on day 3 now. So I'm doing 30 minutes of exercise. So anyway, I'm kind of getting in the weeds with all this shit. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check that out. I think it's really good. And I find it really helpful. So as far as the idea of prioritize and execute, I'll give you some examples on how we use it at the shop. So like when they're looking at the print queue and everything is, they're really overwhelmed. It's real easy. Prioritize and execute. We got to prioritize the jobs that are due the soonest and get those done, get those out the door. And then when something fucks up, that may become the priority because it's like maybe there's a job that's due today and then one sheet didn't cut right. Now that becomes the priority to make sure we get that done so that we can get it out. And it's the same thing with the shipping. Shipping is real. I'm not saying the shipping job is easy. I mean, it's simple, but it's, it's taxing. But, the oldest orders go out first. That's the priority. So it's when you're looking at the queue and people are getting overwhelmed and they're like, oh, there's 75 orders, there's 100 orders in the queue. How am I going to get it all done? Well, don't think about how you're going to get it all done. Just think about getting that oldest order out, and then the next one, the next oldest one. And so just keep finding that priority and executing on it. And then the next priority pops up. And so in life, that also happens. So like if you're super stressed out, you could use prioritize and execute to find kind of the nagging thing that you're putting off. Like we all have those things where, you're something you hate doing, like me filing some kind of paperwork or something, especially if it's like a government type of thing. I fucking hate doing that shit. I don't want to go onto this website that's a pain in the ass to navigate and all these kind of things. But putting off those kind of tasks definitely add a lot to your stress. And the more you put off, the more of those tasks you have, the more they're just sort of living in your mind. And so those become the priorities. So it's like, what's the most nagging task that I have right now? I don't know what it is. I haven't thought about it, but if you're asking yourself that, you find the one that's like, what am I putting off the most? What's the one that's been, on my mind for like 3 weeks or whatever? Then maybe that's the priority, and you get that done, and then you move on to the next one. So it's a really simple concept, but I'm trying to just make sure I kind of keep that top of mind so that I can make sure I'm sort of utilizing that in all aspects of my life. So if you find yourself in a rut and you're having trouble moving forward or getting yourself to move forward, what's the priority? And that's different for everybody. So just try to figure out a way to look hard and figure out what that priority is, execute on it, and then move on to the next one. And then that whole concept of momentum will start to just kick in, and then you'll get yourself out of it pretty quickly. So anyway, sorry I haven't been recording these. I don't know. I'm trying to get better, but I really appreciate all you guys. If you like the show and you feel it's valuable, I would appreciate it if you shared it. And even if you don't, if you just listen, I appreciate that too. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. All right.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys who are supporting the cause and continue to spread the love. And stay up.